had all these tall people speaking so far. It'll work for Mitch too, so don't worry. We've talked a lot already at this convention about shared content and how we need to work smarter and together. Well, I'm going to practice what we preach. My little talk here will be a scaled-down version of something I wrote today for the Detroit Free Press, so I'm sharing my own content. This afternoon, in a ballroom in downtown Salt Lake City, I will have a great honor and an impossible task. My assignment will be to introduce Free Press columnist Mitch Albom as he receives the Red Smith Award, the biggest prize in a journalism career that has been one prize after another. Mitch, who joined the Free Press in 1985, will receive his award during the APSE's annual convention. My peers across the country will be there to applaud him and to hear his insights into sports writing, storytelling, and reporting, the cornerstones that produce all the awards and all the best-selling books. They most certainly do not want to hear me. A few times in my career, I've had the honor of introducing legendary Tigers broadcaster Ernie Harwell, who, as many of you probably know, died last month at age 92. That's like Mario Mendoza batting before Henry Aaron. Each time, I decided I better follow the golden rule of public speaking. Be sincere, be brief, and be seated. But, I know that my peers, being sports guys and gals, will want to hear the stats and the stories and what it's like to be the boss of a legend in our field. Hint, it inspires you. The stats are incredible. 13 times Mitch has won the APSE National Column Writing Contest. His 5 bestsellers have sold more than 28 million copies. His work has been published in 41 territories and in 42 languages. He has the energy of Usain Bolt and the stamina of Frank Shorter. Somehow, at 52, which for the record makes him a pup among Red Smith winners, he can be a full-time sports columnist, host a daily radio show, appear weekly on television, and work constantly on his next book or screenplay. He has founded several charities, including a Hole in the Roof Foundation, which raised more than $70,000 this spring to build bathrooms, showers, and a kitchen for an orphanage founded by Detroiters in earthquake-ravaged Haiti. Mitch led a small team from Michigan that did all that work in a week. I could tell stories about Mitch freezing his you-know-what off while dictating a column from the Iditarod Trail, or trying to find him in 1990 in Malta. Now, this is before cell phones and the internet, to get him to write a column about a fired Red Wings coach, or the time Tigers closer Guillermo Hernandez dumped a bucket of water on his head. Instead, I will tell Mitch stories about 2 people you would never put in the same sentence: Oprah Winfrey and Bill Laimbeer. Here's why I hate Oprah. Mitch's breakthrough book, Tuesdays with Maury, was a saga of how a dying professor taught lessons on life. You might have heard about that book, seeing as how it became the best-selling memoir of all time. Mitch called me one day in the fall of 1995 and said, "Gene, I need a favor. I usually do not write on Tuesdays, and I want to visit my old Brandeis professor each week. He's dying of Lou Gehrig's disease." My reply: "Sorry to hear that. He must be important in your life. Maybe you will write a column about it sometime." When Oprah's production company made the movie version of Tuesdays with Maury, there was a character that barely appeared in the book: me. Oh, Oprah's folks were clever. They changed my name from Gene to Walter. But Walter was the villain. There was no villain in Mitch's book. But Walter threatened to fire Mitch if he kept visiting Maury instead of attending sporting events. There's one scene where Walter says, "You have to get down to spring training. All this stuff is happening. You can't spend your time with a dying professor." So the day after the movie aired, I received a phone call from my usually sweet mother in Kansas. She roared into the phone, "How could you have been so mean to poor Mitch?" So to this day, as you see right now, Mitch still thinks this is funny. It is. On November 30th, 1993, Mitch helped the Free Press learn that Bill Laimbeer, public enemy number one on the championship bad boys, would retire the next day. But it was late. Mitch was in the air, somewhere over the Rockies. We call this the column from 40,000 feet. He used one of those clunky old phones tucked in the back of the middle seat. He started dictating, and dictating, and dictating. More than 40 inches worth. Deadline was moments away. He shouted into the phone, "Don't be fooled. Life is not a highlight reel. You are who you are, not by how you look in the warm and cozy lights of a farewell, but by the final tally of every day you lived your life. Most days, to most people, Lambier behaved like a jerk. That doesn't wash off. It stains him even today. No more Mr. Nice Guy. How's that for a farewell headline? Bill Lambier," and then nothing. The line was dead. I started to panic. How do I finish this column? So I go, "Bill Lambier, live happily ever after." Bill Lambier should become the next coach of the Pistons. Bill Lambier should play Fred Flintstone in a live-action movie. I just didn't know. And the seconds turned to minutes. The phone rang. Without missing a beat, his computer out of battery power on the plane, Mitch shouts, "Bill Lambier, fine player, fierce competitor, two-time NBA champion, nonetheless collected his mountain of dislike the old-fashioned way. He earned it. He gets to take it with him as he walks out the door." 5 months later, the column from 40,000 feet helped Mitch win the APSE contest for the 8th straight year. Red Smith famously said, "Writing is easy. All you have to do is open a vein and bleed." Why has Mitch won all these awards and sold all those books? He bleeds every word, every time. And I will tell my fellow sports editors today, if Mitch says anything different in the next few minutes, don't believe him. Congratulations, Mitch.
Thank you so much. It's funny Gene should mention blood there because I was feeling really good about this honor until I sat up here and Gary happened to let slip that he mentioned when the committee was looking for somebody this year that they would really like to get someone who was alive. So apparently having blood coursing through my veins is my biggest accomplishment to getting this award. It's also nice to be back in Salt Lake City. I was telling the guys at the table here that the last time I was here was one of the worst sports writing experiences I ever had because I covered the Winter Olympics, and at that point I had been at the Free Press nearly 20-some years, and they saw fit to upgrade me to accommodations in the Travel Lodge. And I stayed in a room in the Travel Lodge, which was so cold because they only had a wall heater. I mean, like a wall heater. It was there to heat the wall, I guess, and it got like red hot at night, and you would look at it and think like the devil was coming into your room. And naturally, I got sick, and I ended up with pneumonia. It was the first and only time in my life I ever had pneumonia. And I tried to sort of shovel through, as many of you have done in assignments, you know, fight the sickness. And towards the end of the Olympics, I got a call from Craig Kilborn, who was doing a late-night TV show at that time. And he said he wanted to have somebody on from the Olympics that they could talk to during the show. And I said, well, Craig, I'm not really feeling good, but if you call me, okay, I'll answer the phone, I'll just talk to you. So he said, well, I'm going to call you at 5:30. I said, okay. So I was in the room with my little heater heating and going red, and the phone rings, I pick it up, and I say hello, and I hear Craig Kilborn's voice on the other end saying, Mitch.